If you are somebody like me who's currently in a vertical position in their bed or on their couch watching a productivity video but wants to do something about it but feels lazy at the same time, then fear not, my friend. This is your video to hack into the productivity system. There is so much productivity content out there that it can get overwhelming at times. So here's one video with all the tried and tested productivity tips that are evidence-based and have also worked for me in the past as well. Hi, my name is Monisha. I'm a psychiatrist working here in London. I make videos about living a balanced life as a doctor whilst working in the NHS, content creation, navigating life in a foreign country, and traveling in microdoses. In today's video, I'm going to share with you all the tips and tricks that have worked for me over the years, because I get asked this question so many times that how do you manage to work in the NHS as a full-time doctor? How do you manage to have a YouTube channel, put out videos? Because I am one-man army. I do not have a team. I do not have a video editor. I do not have somebody who's making my graphics. I'm scripting my videos, who's editing my videos. It's all been done by me whilst training in the NHS, passing all my exams and becoming a psychiatrist, also going on to travel, meet my family, my friends. So how do I manage to do all this whilst having a smile on my face? To be honest, it can be tough and difficult, but it is possible. In today's video, I'm going to talk about all the tips and tricks that are so simple and obvious, yet they help you stay on top of your never-ending to-do list. Before we get into the video, I just wanted to say thank you so much for supporting my channel. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, then please do consider subscribing to my channel. It helps my channel's algorithm, but also gives me a little bit of motivation to put out videos every week. Alright, without much further ado, let's get into the video. Right off the bat is plan ahead and Parkinson's law and how to apply that. So in terms of planning, I usually plan my life a week in advance. A month seems too far, to be honest, and a day seems way too soon. So a week seems like a sweet spot to me. And where do I exactly plan? I plan it on Notion. So Notion is a free website app. You can use it on desktop, you can download it on your phone as an application. And no, this is not a sponsored video, although I wish it was sponsored. So Notion, if you're listening to me, please hit up your girl and maybe we can work out something. But anyway, getting back to the video, so Notion is where I usually plan. I literally have my entire life admin planned on Notion, and that's something that I've been using for many years. I've talked about it in multiple videos of mine. So I have a template and I plan a week in advance, and I block out time and I block out days in advance for me to be able to know there's an activity or there's something that I need to do. The way it helps me is that one, I've already blocked out time, so I don't have an excuse saying that, oh, I don't have time to do it. I've already blocked my time out for the week. Number two is that it helps me prepare. It helps me also know that there's something coming up. When the time and the date and everything arrives, I know that I'm the one who's blocked it in my diary, so there's going to be no excuses for me to get it done. Alright, talking about blocking out time, there's something called Parkinson's law, and this has been talked about by every single productivity guru that's out there, and rightly so. So what it essentially means is that work expands to fill out the time that has been allocated for its completion. Say for example, in simple words, if you allocate yourself 6 weeks to complete a project or a report, you will essentially end up taking 6 weeks to do it. Versus if you tell yourself that you have 6 days to complete a task, then most likely you will complete an equal quality report within those 6 days. Time blocking involves scheduling specific blocks of time for different activities. It helps you allocate dedicated time slots for tasks, minimizing distractions, and increases your productivity. Blocking out appropriate time and planning a week ahead is a good place to start. Tip number 2 is prepare for the activity or the task that you are meant to do. What I mean by that is, if you plan ahead, if you prepare for the task already, then the chances are you're not going to overthink and you're not going to push it off. For example, if I know that I have to study in the morning, I'm going to decide a night prior what I'm going to study, which subject, which topic or which chapter and which page. I'm going to open my book, I'm going to decide which chapter I'm going to study, and I'm going to place a pen between my pages and close my book and go to sleep, so that next morning when I wake up, I've already decided a night prior what I'm going to study. All I have to do is just freshen up, sit on my desk, open my book and start studying, instead of wasting time and deciding what subject I'm going to study, what's on my routine, what's not, where's my pen, which page should I start from, don't feel like studying this chapter and all of that. You've already prepared for it one day in advance. All that you have to do next morning, wake up and open and study. Same applies for going to the gym as well in the morning. You prepare one night prior what you're going to wear your gym shoes are, pack your gym bag, put it all prepared in your living room or wherever you want to, so that the morning you wake up, all you have to do is freshen up, wear your gym clothes. It's all been put out for you and you just have to go to the gym. The same strategy apply for myself when it comes to filming my videos. Sometimes, you know, I've been looking forward to my weekend when I just don't want to do anything, I just want to laze around, but then comes the week and I regret that I haven't filmed a video on the weekend for me to put out that week. So what I do on Friday night is I charge all my equipment, I charge my camera camera gear. I put all my camera gear on my table, so everything's charged and I've scripted my videos and everything. So all that I have to do in the morning is wake up, dress up, and film a video like I'm doing right now. Alright, so tip number 3 is make it fun and habit stacking. When a task seems boring, chances are we are highly likely to push it off or not do it. So I make sure the tasks which are challenging for me, I make it fun and interesting. Like going to the gym is always a task for me. No matter how many years I've going to the gym and I've been working out, I still struggle to wake up, have that motivation to go to the gym. So I've made sure that I'm going to make a pact with myself that if I want to watch a favorite episode of TV series I'm watching or the show I'm watching, then I have to go to the gym. So I go to the gym, plug it onto the screen of the treadmill or the cross trainer or onto my phone. If I want to watch the latest episode, then I have to go to the gym to watch it. You can apply the same thing to studying as well. Basically, making a task more exciting, more appealing, or more fun will push you to do the task. For example, when it comes to studying, as try and use like lots of colorful stationery, which can make it a bit more fun, or trying to make flashcards using colorful pens. So you can think of lots of ideas which are actually exciting and appealing for you to, incorporate it to the task which you find boring, to make it more appealing and package it in a more fancy way for yourself. Another special mention in this topic is about habit stacking. This is something that has been talked about at length by James Clear in his book Atomic Habits. Honestly, if there's one book I'm going to recommend you ever read in your life, then it's this book. I cannot recommend this book enough. I keep revisiting this book every few months again because it's been so helpful and so crucial in terms of changing my mindset, in terms of changing my own productivity. Highly recommend reading this book. What James Clear talks about in this book is called habit stacking, and what he means is that instead of pairing a new habit to a time and place, pair it to an old habit. Say if in the morning you are used to making yourself a cup of tea, then tell yourself, once I've made myself a cup of tea, I'm going to sit down to journal for 5 minutes. You basically incorporate a new habit to a habit that you've already been doing for many years. So the reason habit stacking works is because there are patterns and habits that are already incorporated in your brain that have been formed for many years. By linking your habits to a cycle that is already built in your brain, you make it more likely that you'll stick to your new behavior. And once you've started building this habit stacking pattern or habit stacking behavior, you can slowly link it to multiple habits and make it to a whole sequence of things. This allows you to take advantage of the natural momentum that comes from one behavior leading on to the next. So tip number 4 is eliminate distractions. This is such a simple one and yet we don't follow it. Having a lot of distractions in your environment obviously reduce your chances of being productive. So putting your phone away, putting it on silent mode, blocking the websites that distract you, going to a quieter place, going to a newer place to sit and study. If you tend to sit and chat with your friends, then have boundaries. So minimize your distractions. You yourself know what your distractions are, and if you reduce your distractions, it then ultimately increases your productivity. We often tend to ignore the simplest tips and end up going down the rabbit hole of using social media. So if social media is distracting you, put it away for those few hours when you're going to sit and study and make that pact with yourself. Tip number 5 is set personal deadlines and clearer goals. Set realistic deadlines for yourself and hold yourself accountable. Consider using productivity apps or timers that help you to stay on track. Setting clear and specific goals helps you direct your efforts. Avoid using vague goals like I want to be more productive. Instead, be clear and set realistic goals, and they have to be very clear. You need to tell yourself, I'm going to study 1 chapter today, or I'm going to study 1 page today, instead of saying I'm going to study more today, or I'm going to study for 2 hours today. Tell yourself what are you going to do in those 2 hours instead of just having vague goals for yourself. So this clarity enables you to focus on the task at hand. Tip number 6 is practice the 2-minute rule. This is something that David Allen talks about in his book Getting Things Done. What he says is that anything that requires 2 minutes or less for you to do them right away. This way things or tasks don't pile up. The 2-minute rule suggests that if a task takes you less than 2 minutes to complete, then do it immediately. This prevents small tasks from piling up and becoming overwhelming. So by tackling them right away, you maintain momentum and prevent procrastination. So for example, things like folding your laundry, texting someone, packing your lunch, clearing your desk, these are all tasks which can be done within 2 minutes. So if you do them for 2 minutes every day, then the chances are that things will not pile up for you to do at the end of the week, and which might then require 20 minutes. Tip number 7 is rest and sleep. Yes, I'm talking about resting and sleeping in a productivity video. This is something that is so undervalued and so overlooked by a lot of productivity gurus. Rest and sleep does not equate to being lazy or being unhelpful or unuseful. Resting well and enough helps you to work smarter smart and work effectively. In a study looking at anesthesiology interns and anesthetists, researchers found that a couple of weeks of having night shifts or on-call duties, their work performance declined significantly. So taking care of yourself is essential for productivity. Get enough sleep, eat nourishing food, and engage in regular exercise. When you prioritize self-care, you'll have more energy and more mental clarity to tackle your tasks effectively. So tip number 8 is choose a daily highlight. This honestly has been a game changer in terms of making me feel more content and happier every day. This is something that Jake Knapp talks about in the book Make Time, where he recommends one should set a daily highlight for every day. This necessarily doesn't just have to be things to do, but things you have to focus on, because your highlight each day gives you a focal point. So I tell myself on the day or the day prior that this is something that I need to get done, or this is something that I definitely need to focus on next day. And when I get that task done the next day, it honestly gives me so much joy and so much happiness. So you might ask, how do I choose my daily highlight? So he talks about it in his book that there are 3 factors to factor in. 1 is urgency, 2 is satisfaction, and 3 is joy. So you might ask yourself, what's the one thing that needs my urgent attention and just cannot wait until tomorrow? The second thing you ask yourself in terms of satisfaction is that at the end of the day, which highlight will bring me the most satisfaction? And thirdly, in terms of joy, you ask yourself, when I reflect on today, what will bring me the most joy? Alright, so tip number 9 is batch making. Something that you guys always ask me is, Monisha, how do you manage to put out videos every week or put out reels every week whilst working? That's because I batch make them. I have a set day in the week when I sit and film all my videos, and that usually happens to be on a Saturday. Today is a Saturday. I'm sat here filming this video, talking to my camera. So you can apply the same thing to other areas of your life as well. You can have a set day to meal prep. You can have a set day to do your hobbies. So that way you don't eat away all days of your week, but you have a set and designated day and you batch make or batch do whatever you want to do. So the final and last step is a Pomodoro Technique, and what that talks about is working in chunks. So you work for 25 minutes and then you take a 5 minutes break, and then again you work for 25 minutes and you take a 5 minutes break. Once you've had 4 cycles of this, and then you take a longer break. The reason this method works effectively is because you break your task into manageable chunks and it helps you to focus more. Personally, it works for me best because it's just easy to get started, because I just tell myself it's just a matter of 25 minutes and then I'm going to have a 5 minutes break. So that way it helps me to stay focused for those 25 minutes. Research has shown that procrastination has very little to do with laziness or lack of self-control. Rather, we put things off to avoid negative feelings. It's uncomfortable to stare down a big task or project, one that you may not be sure of how to do or one that involves a lot of uncertainty. So we turn to Twitter or Netflix instead to boost our mood, but only temporarily. So luckily, studies have shown an effective way to break down the avoidance cycle. So you shrink whatever it is that you're putting off down to tiny, unintimidating first step. For example, instead of sitting down to write a whole novel, you sit down to write for 5 minutes. If you find that still very hard, then you sit down to write or edit a paragraph. So doing something small for a short period of time is a whole lot easier to face rather than trying to do a whole project all at once. Alright, so this brings us to the end of the video. So these are 10 practical tips that have been useful for me and I apply to my everyday life. Having said that, I have made peace with myself that no matter how much I plan my life, that there will be tasks that will get left behind, and that is perfectly fine. You cannot do it all, and that is okay as well. I do want to spend my life enjoying my time as well. This also includes a certain level of productivity, but I want to avoid stressing about getting it all done instead fully enjoy everything that I get to do, even if that means prioritizing one thing over the next. Honestly, productivity in my opinion should feel good. There should be a flow to it. It shouldn't feel rushed or anxious. It should feel balanced. If today was your last day, you would not want to spend it stressing about getting a million trivial checkboxes marked off your checklist, would you? So there you have it, these 10 evidence-based productivity tips which have helped me to procrastinate less and to get my job done and stay on top of my to-do list. But having said that, there are days when I'm not on top of my to-do list, and that's okay as well. So if you've enjoyed watching today's video, then feel free to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel as well. If you have any further recommendations in terms of videos that I should be putting out, please drop it down below in the comment section. Hope you're looking after yourself and your loved ones, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Mwah.